Story comes from Aubrey Allegretti, senior Tory. I gave MPs numbers to honey trap. It's also in the Telegraph. Tory MP in gay honey trap. It makes a number of the other front pages as well. Well, here to discuss this is the Spectator's Cindy Yu. Really good to see you. Will Wragg mortified by what is going on? We've been talking about this all morning. Look, he's an openly gay man. He was on a dating app. It's really lonely being a member of Parliament. That being said, then he sent explicit photos to someone calling themselves Charlie. This is where it all unravelled. I think what Aubrey was saying was he made one mistake. It then snowballed and he didn't know how to get out of it. He then gave the numbers of other MPs and this really is unforgivable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he should have notified someone in Parliament for MPs and for government ministers have these kind of procedures in place to say, you know, if you suspect you're in part of a phishing attempt, we'll help you out. You know, that they're politicians, they will be targeted, but to continue to be targeted even when he smells something fishy, that's kind of unforgivable, really. And I think his own story has changed a little bit over this. So he's not been completely forthcoming with what's happened. And we know these days, you know, last week was a story about the Chinese cyber attacks. You know, I'm not saying that it's the Chinese this time round, but
no, although Alicia Kearns from the Foreign Affairs Select Committee is suggesting there could be foreign spooks behind.
Absolutely, and we simply don't know what the professional knowledge, expertise on this is, but we know that with these kind of high-level cyber attacks, just the phone number is enough sometimes to trace a lot of the activities on that person's phone. So it is, William Wragg really should have known better.
Well, and we've heard a great deal about this, haven't we, with WhatsApp, for example, the groups that the MPs use as well, of course, being infiltrated. They believe it's end-to-end encryption. But it's increasingly difficult, actually, if you broaden it out, to keep that data secure in an era where people do get hold of your phone number, for example, or you lose it, you leave it in the back of a ministerial car. All these things, as you rightly say, it shouldn't have happened.
And you remember Boris Johnson's phone number had been out there for years.
Indeed.
Until a pot bitch found it at the bottom of a press release. And at that point, the phone number was still active. So, you know, I think MPs just basically need to have better understanding. Maybe a work phone and a personal phone.
I mean, Morali was here earlier and he was saying we all had training when you work in government. You're all trained about these cyber phishing attacks. You just don't give information out to somebody if you don't know who they are, if you haven't met them in person. If it's just a number.
Absolutely.
But these were relatively convincing because they had information, they made contact with, you know, we met at such and such.
Yes. But I don't know.
Well, I think...
Really?
No, well, I think...
To then send naked pictures of yourself, because it isn't just William Wragg, it was then two MPs whose numbers had been given away, who then did send incriminating
I mean, in some ways
themselves.
it was quite clever because he used, or this person used language that Mr Wragg says he understood Westminster Mrs You sort of in-speak in Parliament. So it was a honey trap.
Yeah, absolutely, and also saying things like, oh, you know, we met at this drinks. I know you're I know some of the mutual people that you might know. I know these MPs. It's someone who does understand Westminster. You know, we talk about sometimes some of these phishing attempts. For example, there was a LinkedIn story that Chinese spies have basically sent out tens of thousands of random messages on LinkedIn to academics and government officials. They didn't sound very convincing, though. You know, there was Chinglish or there was a kind of slightly generic messages. But these ones, they do come from someone who does know the dynamics of Parliament. So I think that's quite interesting, and I hope people are looking into what might be responsible for that.
Absolutely.
What does it mean for William Wragg now?
Yeah.
Because he's already announced that he was stepping down at the next election. But, you know, there's quite a few months if you know, Rishi Sunak is still to be believed on an autumn election.
Yeah, I think a lot of his colleagues are very angry. I mean, Labour MPs less so because he's less likely to have their numbers, but a lot of his Conservative colleagues this week have been pretty angry about the fact that he might have exposed them like this. But I think Rishi Sunak would not want another by-election.
No, I was about to say, he hasn't got many left.
No, not another one. And, you know, I mean, we've got the May local elections coming up, so this by-election will be happening after that. So I think maybe the party would realise that this is not a time to call for William Wragg to step down. But at the same time, William Wragg is someone who's keen to call for other people to step down. You know, with the Lindsay Hoyle scandal earlier this year, he was one of the people leading the charge there.